Good morning, traders. This is a live no trade recap. I have everything on video. I'm going to show you what I was watching and why there were no trades to take. As always, I start with Webull on the Markets tab. Click on Top Gainers, Pre-Market, select all. I organize by volume, and I'm only interested in the top three stocks. This right now it's about 11:47 here, but this was at 4 a.m. and at that time SNDL was in the top three. It was number one. Also PETZ and OBLN were up there, so that's what you're going to see on my watch list. Let's look at the video. And I also had CLOV on there from yesterday, but it really didn't do anything. It was nowhere near its previous high of about, I think 1075. Let's see here. I showed it at 1057. And then at 401, I'm trying to record the volume of the top gaining stock, not the top gainer, but the top volume traded stock. And here I wrote 30,000 shares. I actually missed it and it looked at it at 401 in 20 seconds. So in 20 seconds at that time can make a huge difference. So I'm probably not going to use this data, but I'm also tracking, just as of today, tracking the after hours top gainer from the previous day. So this is April 20th, and this is actually from April 19th. So that's going to affect trading on April 20th. So that's why it's there. And PETZ was the number one top gainer in the after hours, making 32.5% basically, which isn't that great. And actually almost half of that move was on the 8 p.m. candle, the 8 p.m. 1 minute candle with 66,000 shares. So that in and of itself right there is pretty impressive, but it didn't amount to much for the pre-market. And the overall move is not that impressive either. It's not uncommon to see 80% or something like that, except for this month. This month has been terrible. So that's what I'm trying to do, is figure out where the threshold of top gainer percent gain for the after hours needs to be in order for trading to be good and meaningful in the pre-market and in the intraday the following day. So that's going to take a while, but I'm starting to track that data now. So PETZ, as I said, did not break out through the previous high, so it didn't give me any setups to take. And the same thing with OBLN. This was the high established in the after hours. So we'll just run through these really quickly. So OBLN actually put up a nice ABCD pattern here, started to, but excuse me, in the context of what was going on before, it's not that good because this is all downtrending, right? And so this is weak, and plus it's below the previous high. So even though in a vacuum this is a nice ABCD setup, it would actually have to get to 3012 after this pullback. So let's just pretend that this wasn't after a downtrend and you're looking at this as an ABCD pattern to take a trade off of, what I would do is enter for the break of this candle, which happens here pretty shortly. Yeah, right there. So here it goes to $3. So let's say you got in here at, I think it'd be like $2.99 or $2.98. This would have to go to 312 in order for this to be a successful 2-hour trade. And that's not that likely to happen because of this downtrend here. But if it did happen, it would be a possible indication that this thing could continue on and break through that previous high. So I think it's better used for that than actually taking a trade on it. And you can see that it almost comes down and hits the stop. It bounces right off of it, but it never ever hits that 312 target. Now, not to say that it's impossible for it to do that. It can definitely do that, but it's less likely because it's in the context of this downtrend, so it's not a good trade to take. But it could be used to try to gauge the energy in the stock. So it just ended up trading sideways, doing nothing. PETZ, same thing, just went sideways, nothing. There was nothing else that popped up. That's actually after 4:30. I think I was already posting on my Facebook trading group page at this point, and it just had this running. But I don't look for any trades after 4:30 if nothing has happened before then. So you could see that it was a really dead pre-market, and that's kind of been the way it's been. Either it's been that way or something has popped up through the previous high and then faked out and stopped me out. So today was a no trade day, as I said at the beginning. So you can see there were no trades taken. And then when there has been trades to take, when things have been breaking out through their previous high, they've been failing almost all the time. My win rate right now is 17.39%, which is really bad. So I'm getting faked into a lot of seemingly good setups, but they're just not working out. So that's why I am tracking things like the volume on the first 1 minute candle, which I don't think, it's not looking like that's going to be that helpful, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's, I'm already watching the market, so why not? And this, I think, will actually have a lot more meaning, is what's going on in the after hours and what the top gainer is and how much it gained in the after hours. Because I know when things are good, you'll see a top gainer in the after hours that went up like 80% or 100% or sometimes 200 or 300%, and then the next day that energy kind of carries over. People get excited because of what happened in the after hours, and they want to get into trades during the pre-market. So we'll see what happens with that, and at least, I'm trying to figure this out. I know that the setups I'm taking are good, they're just not working out, so there must be some other explanation, and I think that might give us the answer, is what's happening in the after hours the day before. So we'll keep watching and see, because I was just, if you haven't been watching my videos, just in case, I've been doing the exact same thing for the last like 4 or 5 months now. Actually, I guess like 5 or 6 months now. In March, I was doing the exact same thing that I'm doing this month, and I gained over 10.5% on the account, or just about 10.5% on the account. So it's not about the setups that I'm taking. It's more about the overall sentiment in this low float market. It's not even the market itself. Like, you can't even look at, say, the SPY, for example, which I have on my watch list for my swing trades. If you look at the beginning of April, which is right here, it just trended up, and the same thing was true for the NASDAQ. And let's take a look at that really quick, if you're still with me. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we'll look at that on the daily chart, and you can see here is where's April 1st? Right there's April 1st, and then it just made new highs, continued to make new highs all the way up until the last 2 days, and now it's finally starting to pull back. But the whole time that was happening, the trading with the low floats were terrible. So, and not really just low floats. Also, I don't just trade strictly low floats, but medium floats as well. And if you look at the SPY, same kind of thing. April 1st is right here, and it just continued to make new highs. These were the previous highs, so it really made a nice move throughout most of April, and it's just now pulling back. And then the NASDAQ, almost the same story. If you go to April 1st here, it made a nice move up towards the previous highs, and then is just now the last couple of days pulling back. So you can't really use that as a gauge as to whether or not you want to take a trade or not. So that's why I'm looking at the top gainers list after hours and recording the #1 top gainer, because those are generally the lower and medium float stocks that I find useful to trade in the pre-market and at the open. So if these aren't doing well in the after hours, it's probably a good sign that things aren't going to be good the next day. So I'm going to try to find like a threshold to where I just don't even look for a trade unless I see something. Maybe it'll be 50%. I don't know. We'll have to track the data and find out. If I don't see that number, then I don't even bother looking for a trade the next day. So that's the plan. Let me know what you think. And as always, no matter what is on this list or any other list that you're looking at, or how good the setup seems to be, always go in with a plan. Have a well-defined stop loss before you enter the trade. And if your stop loss gets hit, just take it. You should always take your stop losses, always honor your profit targets, and in the long run, you should be green. Take care.